Hey, my name is Annie. Welcome to my channel. Today I want to share with you how I learned English. My journey started when I was 14 years old. I just recently started going to a new school, and my English teacher told me that, English is not for you. I was so sad and so angry, and I came back home. I took all the English book I had, and I told my mom I will never open these books again. Before this school, I was going to another school, and there we were learning French. And I only had some occasional lessons in English. When I went to a new school, I realized that my level of English is significantly lower than the rest of my class. And I was trying hard. For me to learn even 5 words, I needed to spend the whole day, and somehow I still managed to forget half of them. And when my teacher told me that English is not for you, I believed what she said. I didn't open this book again. When I was in university, I heard that our international department is looking for people to help. And I was curious. I went there and asked them, what kind of help do you need? And they told me, we have a group of students coming to the university from France, and we need somebody to meet them. It sounded exciting. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do this. I didn't think back then that my English is not good or I won't be able to manage that. I was like, no, I'm gonna do that. I went to the airport, and it was my first time when I realized that I have to speak English, because that's the only way I can communicate with people around the world. This group of French students were my first friends. Back then I could explain myself on a very basic level. I wasn't able to handle really deep communication. I really wanted to talk to them about something more than weather and where we are going to go tomorrow, or just the general topics. And when I was a second year student, I went to the United States under the work and travel program, and I was working in there in Flantable Park. I remember when I was sitting in the taxi, I couldn't explain to a taxi driver where I need him to stop. I felt so embarrassed. When I came back home, the first thing that I had in my mind was, I have to know English. I have to be able to communicate. Not only because I wanted to travel, I wanted to speak to people around the world, I wanted to know different cultures. I just knew that without English, I would not be able even to get a good job. It was February 2015. I went to an English school and signed up for a class. They put me to a pre-intermediate level. In June 2016, I finished on advanced level. It sounds like an easy journey, but it was a lot of ups and downs. I made a lot of mistakes. There was a lot of moments when I really wanted to give up, but I didn't. Today, I want to share with you my tips that helped me, and I hope they will help you as well. The first tip is to ask yourself, why do you want to learn English? And you need to be clear with your goal. If your goal is, I want to travel, I want to get a new job, I want to work abroad, those kind of goals won't work. What will work if you make it like that? I want to get a new job in Google in September 2021. Or I want to travel to the United Kingdom at the beginning of next year. Write it down on a piece of paper, stick it to the wall, and let it motivate you every day. Without a clear goal, you won't move forward. The second tip is to write down around 4 words, stick them to your fridge, and each time you want to open your fridge, repeat all of them and then open the fridge. The third tip is to have internal monologues in English. I know it might sound weird, but let me give you a good example. When you wake up in the morning and you have a lot of thoughts running through your head, like I have to brush my teeth, I need to make something to eat, I have to check my schedule for the day. Try to do it in English. The more you're gonna do it in English, the easier it will become for you. And thinking in a foreign language is a big step towards fluency. The first step is to find an English-speaking club, because without practicing, you won't be able to improve the language. You can spend hours of doing exercises and grammar, and at the end, once you meet a native English speaker, you won't be able to say a word. Don't be scared, practice, because that's the only way to learn. Tip number 5 is to watch TV shows in English with English subtitles. Don't turn on subtitles in your own language, because then you will read the subtitles without concentrating on the TV show. It won't be useful. The next tip is to read books. I know it's hard. I remember how hard it was for me to finish my first book. My best advice is don't try to translate every single word, because you will get tired very fast. This book won't be interesting to you anymore and you will give up. So just try to understand in general what is going on. If there is a word that you need to know in order to understand the bigger picture, translate it, write it down and memorize it. The 7th tip is to switch your electronics to English, especially your phone, because we spend hours in our phones and it's better to spend it reading in English. The more you surround your everyday life in the language you learn, the faster you will learn it. Tip number 8 is to travel. It shouldn't be only to English-speaking countries. You can travel anywhere in the world, because people will try to speak to you in English, and the more you practice, the faster you learn. The 9th tip is to find a teacher who will motivate you. Don't choose the best school, choose the right teacher. When I was at the beginning of my journey, I studied at an English school in St. Petersburg with a group of 9 people. My teacher was making every single lesson interesting, and all the grammar seemed so much easier to me than before. He knew how to motivate us. That is why I completed all the homeworks he gave us. The last tip is to take it easy. When we start learning a new language, we get overwhelmed. English is easy if you let it be your friend. At the beginning, you won't understand each other well, and it's okay. With time, your friendship becomes stronger and you will understand each other better. It sounds weird, but it takes time to accept the language. It takes time to stop being afraid and start to use the language freely. That's it. I hope my tips will be useful for you and will motivate you to start. Just remember, each book started just with 1 page. Thank you for watching until the end. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you next week.